Yes po.
Salamat
Yes po.
Opo, ma'am.
Alright. So, before we begin and start our discussion, let me introduce myself to each and everyone. My name is Maricar Artus and I am your teacher in microeconomics. So, let's start and begin our discussion for this afternoon. We'll be sharing my slide with you guys and I hope na nakikita nyo siya. Ay, ano yun? Nasabihin. Wait lang ha. Okay, so this is the ad. This is my discussion for this afternoon. So I will be presenting it with you. You don't need to have your pen and your paper because it is recorded. You can browse it and play it as long as you want it. All I want you to do every week is your personal participation regarding our GMIT class. More. Everyone, it's more. Alright. So, nakikita ba ng lahat?
Opo, ma'am.
Okay, so our topic for today is the principle of microeconomics. Okay, speaking of microeconomics, do you already have an idea of what kind of microeconomics are we going to topic? Students? Speaking of micro or principles of economics, do you have already an idea about what economics is? Hello? Hello, students? Are you with me today? Meron na ba tayong idea kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng economics?
Economic systems are the methods societies and governments use to organize.
Alright. So this is all about the government. It's all about the principles. It's all about what else? It's all about import and exportation. What else? What else are the following basic things that you know when we're talking about microeconomics? May I call on Miss Yumi?
Ma'am, paulit po.
Ano ba yung idea nyo pag nakakarinig kayo ng microeconomics?
Ano po, ma'am? Studies of behavior po.
Status behavior?
Study of individual and business decisions po.
Individual and business decisions? Alright,
Supply of goods po, ma'am.
Yeah, very good. Everything you said is correctly accurate. No, when we're talking about principle of economics, okay, this is all about ambitions. This is all about human behavior. And this is about the approach on how you're going to provide the needs and the wants of your community. So for today, before I entirely discuss the whole context of the microeconomics, I would just like to discuss with you the objective. The first objective of microeconomics is an impressive, bold architecture of thoughts. One of its objectives is most ambitious. It attempts to describe, explain, evaluate the most everything that is going in our world. Ano bang ibig sabihin nito? Dinidiscuss sa microeconomics kung paano kikita ang mundo. Kung paano ba natin kakailanganin ang isa't isa. As far as I'm concerned, as human behavior is concerned, economics is about or it is close as possible for multi-dimensional approach in providing quality needs of the people around us. Sabi nga, a theory of rational individual decision is considered and one of the topic in microeconomics. A theory of conflict and resolutions together with coordinations, the war, and so on is part of economics. A theory of evaluation of resources and allocation is also part of the microeconomics as well as the public regulations too. Although, given a set of dimensions, microeconomics is fairly comprehensive.
It is
When we're
also
talking about fairly comprehensive, it has general opinions, it has processes, and it has purpose. When we're talking about general, it means the context is to take the first 4 bullet points presented above the individual decisions. For example, okay, the decision of baker are certainly from the decision of the manager. The manager of a basketball team, for example, has 2 aforementioned decisions and certainly. The different from decision of the couple to get married and however they wanted to do that and so. So whatever decisions they come up with, microeconomics attempts to provide the theory of individual decision. Okay, makinig. Pag sinabi nating microeconomics, this is fairly about business decision. Kung ano yung magiging decision natin. Okay? For example, we wanted to get married. For example, we are playing basketball game. For example, we are certain to buy a specific or purchase product. That's microeconomics. But it doesn't mean that microeconomics provide different theory for different business decisions. Example, theories for decisions. Like, for example, for bakers, sport clubs managers, finance, and contrary to microeconomic theories. Also, it identifies decision making that is generally the sense of common all kinds of rational decision making. Irrespectively, there are decisions which has to be considered. Yung buying decision natin, it's microeconomics. Sabi, microeconomics is a theory of rational decisions. It is essential for human life. Bakit? Kasi hindi tayo pwedeng gumalaw nang walang microeconomics. Hindi tayo pwedeng gumalaw na hindi natin i-apply yung microeconomics. The buying and selling of our needs and wants is example of microeconomics. Sabi, this is burden and privilege at the same time. There are fundamentals and trivial decisions. For example, of the former is the most honorable reader of this context has certain points of their lives that they have to decide to. For example, enroll an environmental study program for a university. Instead, that they could have decided to enroll in different program, not to go to the university at all. Okay, another example. Buying safeguard soap, considering that you can buy the most cheapest one. Like for example, you can buy papaya soap. Okay? Another example of family decision on whether to buy a new car or instead traveling abroad in their vacations. Or buying a new pair of Jordan shoes compared with the ordinary ones. So that is microeconomics. This decision and all other decision has an important features common in our life. Decision maker must choose between alternatives. Like alternative means that realizing one's possibility implies that the other possibility cannot be chosen on time. The decision in favor of a new car, for example, implies that vacation abroad. Or the decision to buy soap implies for a cheaper one. Supplies for a cheaper one. Or microeconomics comes up with the realization. or at least for that. Or another example, as regard for decision to enroll in a certain university program has possibility to leave one of the other who has limited people, or one of the other is more cheaper, di ba? The reason for the necessity to choose, therefore, being forced to decide, is that the realization is very alternative and has uses to up our resources. Once these resources are, therefore, we can consume an alternative that cannot be for the realization of the others. Alternative that is imposed to have to take care and to eat it. These are the resources that can be. In the other hand, completely, there are different decisions. For example, the resources that forces you to decide whether to buy a car or going for a vacation, for example, or to use your money to obtain profit by investing it in stock market and so. Resources would not be worth mentioning if resources were abundant, or the scarcity of resources, as discussed in the other previous topic you had in your senior high school. But decision making is all about realizing one's alternative that has a cost of not being able to realize the other alternative. Somehow, when you do a certain decision in your life, it has to be interpreted by its number of costs. Okay? So, in this time, considering that economics has worth value in our life, we can choose yung tinatawag nating opportunity cost. If microeconomics is a theory of individual decision making, this is a part of consequences for central theme or scarcity that we have to discuss in part 1 and above. Since we're focused on painful aspect of the decision, we realize that for number 2, buying new car or travel abroad is not a necessity for us, but rather it is a need, diba? Or 2 resources is related with each other, which is the time is money, or somehow or somewhat. Or for number 4, if there are several alternatives foregone, it is the best for this to count what is opportunity cost. Ano nga ba yung opportunity cost? Pag sinabi nating opportunity cost, we are dealing with our money, or we wanted to have the worth of our money by simply thinking about a certain opportunity na makaka-profit tayo. Diba? Instead of buying certain necessities, certain demands we had in our life, mas kinoconsider natin na bumili ng mga necessities natin na kailangan natin, like food, shelter, or clothing. Okay. This time around, this time, I want you to have a piece of paper. At sa piece of paper, ilagay mo lahat doon ng mga needs mo at saka mga wants mo. At ilagay mo yung reason why you wanted to buy these things and why you wanted these demands of yours. I want you to have your tawag dito, kailangan makita ko doon yung inyong reasons why you're going to buy things na sa tingin mo gustong-gusto mo. Okay? For example, you wanted to buy iPhone. Why do you want to buy iPhone? Okay? So, yung reason mo, what's come up in your mind to make this decision to certainly buy an iPhone, for example. Or, you wanted to go abroad or in Singapore. Because we already know na wala na yung pandemic eh. Nag-decline na yung number of cases of people who is getting sick from COVID-19. So, what is your decision? And why do you have to travel? 'Di ba? Tapos ilagay mo doon yung reasons. Kasi ang sabi, one of the basic things in microeconomics is for us to decide. So, yung mga reasons lang at kung bakit natin gusto yung mga bagay-bagay, at least 5 to 10 things na ilalagay natin sa papel, and then later, isasubmit natin sa G-Classroom yung mga performance task natin. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes po, ma'am.
Alright, so naintindihan
Yes po,
ba
ma'am.
yung mga principles? Anyway, this is just a principles for you to understand. Hindi naman siya ganun kabigat na discussion. No? Okay, so we had our module also that is posted. At pare-pareho lang naman yung sinasabi dito. Pero meron tayong when talking about society, okay, so hindi ko na idadagdag pa yung iba. So, ang gusto ko, so alam kong alam niyo na to eh. When talking about the consumers, pag sinabi natin consumers, these are the actors of any market economy. So, when they're talking about the actors in market economy, these are the agents, like they can be the purchaser or supplier for things like labor or capital. And when we're talking about market, these are the place for buying and selling where demands of a certain consumer is met. Diba? So, alam nyo na to. So, these are just basic, no? What else? Hindi masyadong ano to. Okay. So, when we're talking about resources or scarcity of resources, these are the reasons why we have to decide a second alternative. Like, for example, no, rice. When we're talking about the scarcity of resources, ito yung mga pagkaubos ng mga supply. For example, rice, kapag naubos na supply natin, we can use mais, diba? Or, let us apply this idea to role consumer supplying labor. Like, for example, which is scarce for this context. So, each consumer must have to decide or to allocate his or her time to budget an alternative activity to which he need time to perform. Like, for example, activity of work, leisure, or education, or something. Or, in microeconomics, we have to improve chances of making money by working in the future. Microeconomics deals with the studies of how we're going to utilize our demands compared with the needs that we had. So, it is most important that we have to know the value of money optimally. So, when we're talking about optimizing it and maximizing it, the manner of equilibrium use of time is naturally an application for the term economics. Okay? So, talking about economics or microeconomics, one of the philosophers who have the heart to develop the economics is Johann Friedrich Herbert. He was born in 1776 to 1841. He said that boredom is the biggest sin. This is for us to understand the point of view of microeconomics because of lifetime, and definitely it is limited interesting to economic quests. So, ano ba to? Sabi ni Friedrich Herbert, yung pagiging tamad natin o yung pagiging bugnutin natin, it is a sin already, because in microeconomics, we cannot become profitable if we have this kind of instinct in ourselves, like boredom. Sabi niya, efficiency and effectiveness must be applied. Kaya nga, ina-apply ang microeconomics most on individual decision making. Microeconomics is purely mercantile issue. It can be interpreted with high moral obligations. It derived from competing allocation of time and all other being equal to consumers with strong preferences, considering the likes and dislikes of your clients. Another thing for us to consider is consumption of goods and supplies with more labor to the market. Sabi, the more there are lots of labor, the more there are lots of job, a certain area or country is profitable. Bakit? Kasi maraming na-offer na job. But it has to come up with equilibrium. Dapat daw pantay siya. Yung needs and wants and demands shall be equated, everything. Just like when we're meditating under the sun, whether we're permitting or determinant, the equilibrium usage of time is a wage rate. It must be observed. Example, labor will be supplied and less leisure will be enjoyed. Diba? Or, pag mataas masyado o mas marami kang laborer, for example, ikaw ay negosyante, there are certain instance or there will be an instance na malulugi ka because napakataas ng iyong labor supply. So, these are the things that we have to consider. So, in order for us to have this equilibrium rate, greater proportion of manpower, necessities, needs shall be decided in both managers and certain individual who is managing the business. Diba? Katulad din ng pagsisave. If saving already exceeds at the point of time, the consumer might decide to increase her budget available for consumption. Or another example, if we reduce the stock of money we save, however, we leave saving aside and subsequently we analyze consumption. Diba? Kung ayaw natin mag-save, yung pera na ginagamit natin, ay we use it for consumption. But, guys, remember, the more na gumagastos tayo, the more na natutulungan natin yung economy, na bumaba yung ating GDP rate. Tama. Nabumaba yung ano natin, yung paghihirap natin. Why? Sabi sa economics, the more na gumagastos ka, the more na marami tayong funds na nakukuha para ibayad natin sa mga utang natin. It is an analysis that concentrate on a certain analogy of consumption. Diba? Or, example, if in foregoing situation like supplying labor, microeconomics stylize the decision to consumer buying goods or utility maximization. Diba? The more that we buy, the bundle of goods that we wanted to do and we wanted to consume, the more the economy grow. Diba? Or, for example, if the wage gets very high, this relationship might be turned down because same hold true for very low wage rate or yung tinatawag nating backward bending labor supply. Or for number 16, if you inherit huge fortune, for example, meron kami nana, probably you won't worry for much putting work because you have your own money already or you earn money, diba? Or for example, since you're saving, it is consumed to be zero or most introductory, microeconomics analyzes the term budget and income that is being used in many individuals synonymously. For our session 1, aside from the things that I want you to do, I want you to do these things. Ito. So, I will be posting this for you to do. Okay? So, the Calculus Club, session 1. So, you're going to calculus everything aside from the needs and wants that you wanted. So, you're going to use the mathematical language for you to analyze your expenses every day. Like for example, paano ba tong math session na to? Okay? Like for example, lahat ng cost mo for a day ay ilista mo. One example lang ang kailangan ko At lahat ng gusto mo na idagdag for that day, ilista mo din. And then, bilugan mo lang yung mga certain things na kailangan mo. Bilugan mo ng orange. And then, bilugan mo rin ng kulay green yung mga certain things na hindi mo naman kailangan pero need mo siya. Okay? Nagets nyo ako? Para maintindihan natin kung ano talaga ang ibig sabihin ng microeconomics.
Ma'am, pakiulit po, ma'am.
Nagets nyo ako? Nagets nyo ako? Okay.
Bali po ba dun po ma'am sa ano po? I-lista po namin yung mga needs po namin tapos i-compute po ba namin yung nagiging cost po nun?
Yes. At saka yung mga other things, nun halimbawa,
Opo.
napadaan ka lang. So,
Yung mga hindi po kailangan po.
Oo. Tapos,
Ano ma'am, isang needs lang po, tsaka isang wants.
yes po.
Tag-isa
Yes po.
lang po.
Oo, tig-isa lang. So, these are the following things that I want you to list down in a pieces of paper and then picturean nyo siya, isend nyo sa akin sa Google Classroom.
Opo ma'am, thank you po.
Okay, thank you. Any other question, guys?
Lasin po ma'am.
Okay.
Ano po yung sinabi mo kanina ma'am, yung may bibilugan po?
Okay, ganito yon. Mag-isip ka ng isang bagay na ginagastos mo araw-araw. Okay. And then, mag-isip ka rin ng isang bagay na gusto mo. Tapos, isali mo siya ron sa pang-araw-araw mo na ginagastos. Yan, i-itemize mo doon sa akin kung ano yung basic needs at yung mga gusto mo lang na bilihin. Yung mga wants mo lang. So, bibilugan mo yung orange, kulay orange na ballpen or marker, yung basic needs mo. At yung mga wants mo, bibilugan mo ng kulay green na marker. Naintindihan?
Opo.
Yes po ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am?
So, yes po.
Mataas lang po ako, ma'am. Pagkatapos namin ito isasend, pagkatapos po na,
Isisend niyo po sa Google Classroom. You already have your Google, do you have your Google Classroom already? Do you know the code for your Google Classroom?
Wala pa po ma'am.
Okay, so I will be sending here ngayon na yung code ng ano ba section nyo? 1T at saka ng 1K. Ano ba section nyo? Tama ba ako?
1
Pa po ma'am, 1T po.
1T. Okay.
yes po, ma'am.
O, sige ha, wait lang. 1T and 1K. So, this is your link. So, for students who belong to 1T, okay. Wait lang. Nasubmit tayo. Ito ha. This is for students who belong to 1T. And, yung mga students na nabilong sa 1K, wait lang kayo. This is for the class code for 1K. Okay? Okay na ba? Okay na po ba?
Yes po, ma'am.
Have you seen the link? Okay, just join. Join po kayo.
Yes po ma'am.
And then tell me if you're done already. If you're done already, you may leave the group meeting for this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you po ma'am.
Thank you
Okay,
po,
don't
ma'am.
forget
Thank you po.
to do
Thank you po.
your activity po. I will be posting a certain thing in your assignment sa Google Classroom, tapos dun nyo siya ipasa, okay?
Okay po ma'am, thank you po.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you po ma'am.
Thank you ma'am.
Thank you po. Thank you po.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you po ma'am. Keep safe and God bless.
Thank you po.
Salamat.
Thank you po.
Salamat.
Thank you po. Paalam.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Paalam.
Thank you po. Paalam. Po, ma'am.